Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the All-Candidate Forum. On behalf of the Valemount Chamber of Commerce, I want to welcome and thank all of the candidates for coming out tonight and our audience for attending this lovely event. Thank you, great turnout. Special thanks to the high school and the Village of Valemount for the use of this theatre, and of course the Chamber of Commerce for hosting the forum. I will now call upon Marion Farquharson, your moderator this evening, and she will outline the forum format. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. Bear with me while I make a mess at the beginning. I'll get better during it. That means you candidates as well. We decided this evening that we'd let the candidates for the Regional Council and the school district go on the platform first. There is one missing? One missing. You, the audience, will be given the opportunity to ask questions at the end at either of the two microphones there. Or you can submit written questions, and I have one for the council, for these people here, so you're okay. And I have some for the councillors at a later meeting. So if you want to write a question or you hear something that comes up, do it now. We'll first invite the candidates to make their opening statements, and the floor will be open for the questions from the public. I have a small bio from each of these candidates, and I'm introducing them in alphabetical order. I've got to be fair. I hope I can do the alphabet. For the, I don't like this thing. The candidates for the regional district are Daniela Allen. Where's Daniela Allen. Just wait till I find it. Here she is. She's the Area N Director, and she moved to the Robson Valley in 2005 with her two children. She's been involved in McBride Chamber of Commerce, Parent Advisory Committees, Robson Valley Art and Cultural. She's Society and Tourism. She currently runs the Whistle Stop Gallery and Robson Valley Visitor Centre. Danielle? Yeah. I come up now. Yeah, come on.
All right. Thank you. Hi. As been said, I moved to the Valley with my children in 2005. Many of you may remember my daughter. She won Valemount Idol in 2009, I believe it was. Little tiny blonde girl. My son comes down to play sports with the teams here on a regular basis, so I'm fairly familiar with Valemount and the surrounding area. I got involved in this because I have been and continue to be a strong advocate of community development and the need for community participation and involvement in decision making. I've worked with the Regional District on the Cultural Services Advisory Committee for 7 years, been with the McBride and District Chamber of Commerce for 8, and president for the last 2. I have to remember to breathe. Well, with the Chamber, I lobbied for stable power, increased cell phone service, and greater access to internet. We put forth a resolution to the BC Chamber calling for a plan to work with the provincial government to ensure continued access to our backcountry. I've been an active participant in the various economic and tourism development plans through the Robson and Canoe Valleys over the past 9 years, and I have experience on working with people from all over BC. And in all levels of government on issues that affect our region. Things are changing. There are changes in land use and the ALR, changes in demographics and an aging population. Our schools are suffering from declining enrollment, and there is increasing centralization of services. The proposed Glacier Mountain Resort, if successful, will bring massive change to our region. We need to foster cooperation and work together in order to take advantage of the opportunities that come with these changes. And I see significant opportunity. We have the opportunity to be involved and to help shape regional policy on a community level. Small businesses, including home-based businesses, are flourishing, and we can work to facilitate growth in that area. We can support innovative ideas in agriculture and power generation. We can advocate for our community champions, the backcountry horsemen, the mountain bike enthusiasts, the heritage seed savers, the organic gardeners, and so many, many more whose passions help make all of our lives richer. We can work to support small wood manufacturers who add much needed vitality to our forest industry, and we can continue to lobby for those essential services that urban dwellers take for granted: stable power, reliable high-speed internet, and vital cell phone coverage for our remote areas. I have always been a strong advocate of community involvement and participation, and I will continue to seek out opportunities to work with community associations, chambers of commerce, tourism groups, health groups, local government, and community organizations so that I can effectively represent the area. Get used to seeing me, because you'll see more of me.
Thank you, Danielle. The next candidate is Ken Starchuk. Is that right? Yep. Ken Starchuk has been in the regional district director for the past 9 years. Ken retired as an operation manager with the Ministry of Forestry, or is it what? Oh, okay. What is it? Terrible writing. Ken is married to Joette with 2 children, Chad and Nairi, and just enjoys having a new grandson, Alex. Joined the family last week. Oh, congratulations, Ken. Please come to the stand.
Yes, my wife couldn't be here tonight. She's down in Vancouver enjoying the grandson, so I envy her. So good evening, everyone, and thanks for coming out. My name is Ken Starchuk, and I'm seeking a 4th term as your Regional District Director. What I've learned from being in office as Regional District Director for the past 9 years is to try and focus energy on issues that we all have a mutual and common interest in. Working on issues for the betterment of the constituents of Area H. It seems the same interests and concerns from 3 years ago are still front and center today, and are the ones that constituents bring up with me time and time again. The 3 concerns are cell coverage, high-speed internet, and BC Hydro power outages. I think you'll agree we've seen some improvements in these areas of concern. With cell service, we now have 4 new towers in the area compared to 2 3 years ago. Now with a total of 6 towers, you have better internet service as long as you live in close proximity to the towers. With regards to BC Hydro, 3 years ago, the RV region was tied with the Queen Charlottes in having the most power outages in BC. Not a good record to be proud of. We're slowly seeing improvements as BC Hydro has increased their vegetation budget significantly for the Robson Valley region. Improvements can still be made in these areas. If re-elected, I will push for more cell towers east of Tejon, lobby TELUS for further expanding high-speed internet into the rural areas of Area H, and work with BC Hydro to ensure they maintain their aggressive vegetation program for this area. These improvements will complement the new economic marketing plan that is being implemented in just the Robson Valley region. The Regional District recently hired Christine Dolbeck as the new marketing coordinator for the plan. The plan promotes opportunities in forestry, agriculture, tourism, and home-based businesses. The main goal of the marketing plan is to try and attract new investors to the Robson Valley region, start a business in one of these sectors. So having better cell service, internet service, and more reliable power will go a long ways in attracting new investors to the area. I want to say I'm a strong supporter of many nonprofit organizations that operate in Valemount Area H. For various reasons, a few of these organizations have needed some financial help to get them through the tough times. I'm pleased that through my Community Grant and Aid Fund, I was able to help a number of these organizations in the past 3 years. If re-elected, I'll continue to support these organizations as I've done in the past. I've maintained a good working relationship with the Valemount Council and staff, And if re-elected, I'll continue to work closely with them on some of the major projects, such as the geothermal project, ski hill, and new mountain bike trail project. So if you're looking for a person who has the experience, is willing to work hard for the constituents of Area H for the next 4 years, then I am that person, and I look forward to your vote on November 15th. Thank you.
I think I'm right. There's a third candidate, Mr. Brian Munro. Is that right, Ken? Who's not able to be present. He's unwell. Okay, now we come to the school district candidates. I had thought that they would all be on one side and I would go, they're all here, but half of them are here. Excuse me. Okay, let's go to the school candidate. School candidate, school district number 57. First candidate I'm going to introduce this evening is Dori Alger. She's given me a précis, but it's a long one. So I'm going to, with her permission, shorten it. Raised in Prince George, Dori has a long-term commitment to the north and this district. She graduated from Duchess Park Secondary, the College of New Caledonian, and the University of Northern British Columbia, and has 2 amazing daughters. Dori is passionate about education and is committed to being in a state of continual learning, whether it's academic, athletic, or artistic. She has a long history of volunteerism in the community, and she's currently the treasurer for the Alumni Association of the UNBC, the chair for the Finance Committee, sits on the Governance Committee, and treasurer for the MBA chapter. Dori counts it a privilege to be amongst you in Valemount this evening. Can I please point your attention, candidates, to the lights at the back? You have 3 minutes to introduce yourself. The lights are going on at 2?
1, 2.
Oh, you're using a minute, so it's 1, 2, 3, so you know where we're at. Let me introduce you. I'm pleased to introduce you to Dori Alger.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, I do count it a privilege to be here this evening. And as a candidate for school board trustee, I will act on behalf of all communities represented in the district, listening to their concerns and working towards building and maintaining a school system that reflects their priorities, values, and expectations. We guide the district by setting policy, making plans, and approving the budget. Being that I've been a budget analyst for the last 8 years, I'm particularly looking forward to that piece. The 3 pillars of my platform can simply be remembered in the word ACT. Written as an acrostic, ACT for me stands for achievement, creative solutions, and teamwork. My number 1 priority is for our learners to experience academic achievement in the areas of literacy and numeracy by providing additional direct support in the classroom from educational assistants, learning specialists, or other classroom support, depending on the specific needs. I will recommend creative solutions to provide an environment that is conducive to learning, both physical infrastructure and atmosphere, offering a safe, caring, and orderly learning situation. Innovation in physical responsibility, using funds where they are most needed, and bringing the most benefit is very important to me. I believe that teamwork is foundational to our success. Collaboration, cooperation is essential between parents, teachers, students, administration, support staff, board members, and our partner organizations. So why me? Because I listen and I care. I want this generation, this board, to leave a legacy of quality education. I am an experienced board member, and I have 4 years experience sitting on a private school board, chairing the personnel committee, and sitting on the finance committee and salary committee. I understand and have overcome financial challenges at board levels. In my early 20s, I was an office manager for a small private school, and so I understand the need, and this school had 90 kids from grade kindergarten to 12. So I understand that the benefits of small schools, like low student-teacher ratio and multi-level classrooms. And also I understand the challenges of infrastructure, technology, and supplies. But I also believe that there are unique circumstances practices in rural and small schools. Most discourses on rural education focus on limitations and the lack of broad educational choices. According to the Rural Route publication, there are rural assets that can greatly enrich curriculum and engage both students and their teachers in meaningful and constructive learning. Thank you very much.
And next, I'm really, when that red light goes on, you've had it. You people can't see it. Tim Bennett is the next candidate. He's currently serving his first term as a trustee for School District 57 and has served past 2 years as vice chair of the board. In addition to this role, Tim is the executive director for Big Brothers Big Sisters of Prince George. There you are. And has sat on numerous boards on the local, regional and provincial level. Welcome, Tim Bennett.
Good evening, and first off, thank you all for taking the opportunity to come out tonight and listen to what the candidates have to say about public education, especially here in the Robson Valley. And I guess first off, I'd like to say thank you. Thank you for the opportunity to serve on the Board of Education for the past 3 years. It has been quite an experience, and tonight I'm asking for your support for re-election. The reason that I'm running again has not changed at all over the last 3 years. It's because I believe that every child has a right to an equal and quality public education, and that when given the right skills, our students are not only going to do great things in the Robson Valley, but do great things for society. I take that message through my work each day with Big Brothers Big Sisters and through my work as a school trustee. To be honest, through a little bit of miscommunication, we as trustees learned about tonight's forum this morning, and it was important to me to be here tonight, to drop everything and be here because Robson Valley matters. The district is, respectfully, more than just Prince George. It's 52,000 square kilometers. And over the past 2 years, I've had the opportunity to be the liaison for Mackenzie. And one of the things I pride myself most on is being able to be in the community, regular visits, and really learning about how important rural education is. And that is something that I really am going to be pushing for over the next mandate as school trustee, is how we can better support our rural education, how we can get students, especially in our high school, the same opportunities that they can go and pursue their lifelong goals. The other priorities for me are about supporting our vulnerable students. The needs in our classroom are more and more complex than they ever have before. We're facing challenges, we're facing mental health concerns, and really the students and their families need our support. So I really wanted to keep this short and sweet. I know there's a lot of candidates here tonight and a lot of message to get across, but I just wanted to take an opportunity to introduce myself, to tell you a little bit about why I'm running again, and to say thank you so much for the opportunity to serve the past 3 years. And I hope to have the opportunity to work with the Robson Valley over the next 4. Thank you.
Tony Cable is the next gentleman who is a candidate. Is Tony Cable here? He's not here. He's not here, and I have his bio. I think I'll leave it till the end, after the last speaker. We'll go ahead. Our next candidate to speak will be Eric Depenau. Eric is an advocate, a student, a firefighter, and a soldier. I hope to be one of your school district trustees moving forward. I bring a unique perspective to the position of school board trustee, seeing as I have recently been in the school system. Welcome, Eric.
I want to thank you all for coming. I'm really excited to be here tonight, but before we get started, I'd like to acknowledge the traditional territory that we're on and thank its people for letting us conduct our business here. Like what was mentioned, my name is Eric Depenau. I'm an advocate, I'm a student, I'm a firefighter, and I'm a soldier. And can anyone hear me? Perfect. So if you're in favor of electing responsible, passionate, tireless, and loud representatives to speak on your behalf, then I think we have a lot to talk about. I want to see that this district's resources are used to provide the most positive outcomes for students, the most equitable conditions for teachers, and that you have confidence in the people that you've elected. We need to be responsible and accountable to each and every one of you. We do this by providing and supporting our learners regardless of their differences, their individual characteristics. We do this by advocating for the supports that our students and our teachers need in the classrooms and the funding that we need in our schools, not just in Prince George, but in our regions. And we do this by being champions in our communities. If I'm elected, you will have my personal contact information, as everyone else will amongst the board. If there's something that we're doing or we're not doing, we want to hear about it. We need your input. You don't just elect us, on one day and let us run wild for 4 years. I want to hear from you, on an ongoing basis. So, like everyone else, I also have some titles and some education, but I really don't think that's important to tell you about tonight. I'm also from a community that's experienced mill closures. My school, when I was in elementary, closed when I was in grade 3, and I was moved into a different area of the community. We have some shared experiences, you and I, and I want to work for you. I want to keep Valemount strong. And looking around the room this evening, we got a message this morning about 10 o'clock is when I saw it that this forum was happening. And everyone up here who's made it here, we all had work, we all had school, we had family commitments. But if your mayor or yourself or your principal calls us and you don't need a representative tomorrow, there's an emergency, you need somebody here today, I think it's pretty clear on who's going to be here for you looking around this room. So I would suggest to you to look at the representatives who have made that commitment, now not even being elected, who have driven out here to see you. And I really think it speaks to why we're doing this. So I thank you very much for this chance to speak.
I'm not as tall as he is. Sheldon Harris, Mr. Sheldon Harris. He's an occupational therapist. He spent the last 28 years working in education. The last 25 years working in multiple school districts, private schools, and a year with FNESC, First Nation schools. Welcome, Sheldon Harris.
Good evening, and thank you all for attending tonight. I don't know if there's any students, parents, or teachers in the room, but if there are, I particularly want to thank you for the value and perspective you have added to the last 28 years of my life. I first came out to Valemount approximately 28 years ago when I started working for the district as an occupational therapist. And you probably haven't heard me tell some of the stories about my involvement with the staff, but originally with the elementary school and then later on with the secondary school. But you have some wonderful teachers in this community that taught me a great deal. I learned from them what a wonderful educational program can be developed for students with really severe and profound disabilities. I learned the value of teachers with open minds and a good academic plan, and how far they can go if you're able to give them the support that they need to get the success that they want. So I've always had a little extra space in my work heart for the time that I've spent out here. As my bio mentioned, I have spent the last 25 years working for a ministry resource program that has allowed me to travel and work in a variety of school districts. I have been quite actively involved with both my professional association. I've been involved with my union, both locally and provincially. I have presented locally, provincially, nationally, and internationally. What are the big issues that this election is focusing on? I know that we're going to hear a lot about what I call the forever problems. I borrowed this from the SPCA. Thank you, SPCA. Budgets, infrastructure, class size and composition. I wished I had a solution for these. I don't. I have a willingness to work on day-to-day solutions for the problems that come up with these areas, but I think they're ongoing problems. I do, however, see another problem that I am concerned about from my perspective in other school districts. I have seen what I call a deterioration in the work environment for the staff in this district. More and more staff in this district are appearing to me as being disillusioned. They're questioning the purpose and the value of the work that they're doing, and are expressing a feeling of being disconnected with the district. I see a lot of this as a result of the current management of the district. I think the board is responsible for providing leadership, and if you vote for me, not Bob Harris, I'm Sheldon Harris, I am looking forward to working with the other trustees and providing a strong leadership and getting the staff, all of the staff, the support and the leadership that they need to continue to do the job that they have done so well over the years. Thank you for your time.
Our next candidate is Denise Macdonald. I love this. She says 5 lines about myself and writes 15. She's a vocal activist for rural schools in School District 57. 5.5 years of experience with the school board as an advocate for Giscombe Elementary. 9 years with our school pack, 5 years on the executive, 3 years facilitating our Ready, Set, Learn preschool program in the community. She believes that many of the Ministry of Education processes that are Victorian urban-based need to be changed to allow for rural sustainability. She has a passion for public education accessible to all our students. Welcome, Denise.
It's almost 5. It's big font. You miss Brenda, too. Good evening, everyone, and I'm excited to be here in your beautiful valley and your beautiful school. I understand what it's like to try and build a school in a rural community. We have just successfully built a school for our 20 students. I am the only board member or candidate who is not from the city of Prince George. And as Marion said, I have spent 5.5 years working with our board to find those changes and options in the urban cookie cutter, I call them, processes that are based in Victoria, where they say this is what must happen, and we as a community have to say that can't happen here. My platform is based on the 5.5 years I have spent in the gallery of the school board and as a spokesperson for my school. I believe that we need equal access to high quality education for all our students in our very vast and very diverse district. That change needs to be created in the ministry processes that it creates mostly cookie cutter schools, because those don't work in a lot of our different school communities in our area. The need for a clear plan and a vision for our school district. And this plan needs to span 10, 20, and I would like 50 years, because I believe our students spend a lot of time with us, our staff spends a lot of time with us, and we make the difference for the rest of their life. We owe it to them to have that plan in place. And a plan to deliver early education to students in their community and based on what the community needs are. A program that's based in Valemount does not look like one that's based in College Heights or in Mackenzie or in Giscombe or anywhere else in this school district. My goal is to work with our fellow trustees to find sustainable, creative solutions to these unique educational needs in School District 57. I look at our school district structure as an upside-down pyramid with the trustees and senior administration at the bottom, supporting our principals, supporting our teachers and our support staff, and our students at the very top, because they're really why we're all in this room. I will not only lobby for more funding, but to find ways to provide the high-quality education that all our students deserve wherever that student lives. I believe that this can be accomplished through partnerships, innovations, and working to change the urban-based decision-making that currently takes place on a ministry level. These processes must be changed to allow for sustainable rural education and the changing face of education coming into the 21st century. I believe that technology can provide many of these opportunities for delivering that education in certain instances, but only when married with well-trained staff. I know that the next board must look forward to these changing processes to deal with today's educational, facility, and human resource issues. And with 9 out of 39 schools in this district being rural, this is something that needs to be done now and not later. Our district also started, I'm a homemaker with 2 children, 1 in a small rural school and 1 in a large urban school. I have been an active member of my community and a school bus driver, so I understand the transportation issues. And I am, as you can hear, a very loud voice for rural education because I am passionate about it and education for all students. Thank you.
It's not my training, I promise you. I'm sorry, Brenda Hooker should have gone before Denise. Denise. We're doing it alphabetically. She didn't. Brenda Hooker is currently a District 57 school trustee seeking a second term. She was honoured to be elected in 2011 and at that time promised to be accountable, to work hard to conduct her duties with integrity. She's delivered on those promises. She brings an accounting designation and a collaborative team mentality to the school board. She takes the time to educate herself on the issues and consult with all stakeholders. She loved serving as a liaison trustee to the Robson Valley in 2012. Welcome, Brenda Hooker.
I think I'm done. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming out this evening and to listening to us and the pitches from this excellent slate of candidates. So why am I running for a second term as trustee? Because I truly believe Nelson Mandela's quote that education is the most powerful tool with which we can change the world. And I want to do what I can to change the world through our School District 57 students. I also believe that children need strong advocates who will vocally demand the resources they need, create education programs that challenge and stimulate them, and ensure they have safe and nurturing learning environments. I believe I have proven my ability to be a strong education advocate, and I would like to continue serving in that governance capacity. I was honored to be elected in 2011. At that time, we also had a great slate of candidates, and I was very honored to be chosen. And, you know, as I stated earlier, or you stated for me, that I promised to be accountable and to work hard and have integrity in my position. And I've done that, and I will continue to do that. Voters have terrific options for trustee, which is great, because there's very hard work to be done in our district as we continue to face budget challenges due to the government underfunding of schools. My certified professional accounting designation is one asset I bring to the board table. I also collaborate to bring the viewpoints of all of our stakeholders to the discussion by educating myself on the issues with an open-minded and common sense approach. I have 3 main goals over my next trustee term: using my financial skills as we continue to grapple with budget challenges and underfunding, working on rebuilding the relationships in education, and continuing to be a strong voice for education transformation to improve the outcomes for all of our students, whether urban, rural, vulnerable, or special needs. And overriding the issue this term is going to be school board governance and the government's review of our mandate. I think trustees will need to be very vocal if they want to continue to be locally elected public voices in public education. I have family in both Valemount and McBride. I was raised in the Valley. I graduated from McBride Secondary, and I will do everything I can to support your community and the schools here, because I know Valemount, I know your challenges, and I know your opportunities. And I really love coming here. You know, I may live in Prince George now, but my heart is still in the Valley, and it's an honor every time I get a chance to come back. So I'm a proven trustee committed to hard work. I may be nervous public speaking, but I'm a good trustee. I will continue to work hard on your behalf. I really appreciated being a chance to be a liaison trustee for the Robson Valley in my first year of my term, and I'm hoping to get a chance to do that again. And, I know that we need to do better for our students, to provide adequate education for all of our students, particularly for our rural students. We lobbied the ministry recently for the Rural Education Partners Council, and I think that's really important to do that again. And I see I'm out of time. Thank you so much. Good night.
The time's going very quickly. The next candidate is Sharel Warrington. She has a strong background in education as an elementary and a secondary teaching. She's been in the business for 30 years in the district. She's on the Board of Education trustee the past 9 years and the board chair from 2011 to present. She's actively involved at the branch and provincial level of the BC School Trustees Association as their education representative and the BCSTA Education Committee Chair. Welcome, Sharel.
Thank you very much. It's such a pleasure to be here again. I love the Valley. As a retired teacher for 30 years, I do bring a strong background in public education, and as your trustee representative in the Valley for a number of years as well, I do understand the issues and the economic and educational issues that are facing your communities. I decided to run for a 4th term because there is much work to do, and much of that work has to do with our rural schools, in terms of equity of resources and the ability for us to meet the needs of all of our students. I also, my husband and I are actually rural people as well. We live in a small farm outside of Prince George, and we're working on going back to the land, working on it. And so I do have a strong understanding of the roots of rural communities and the importance that they bring to the life of a community. I offer very responsible leadership. I hope I have shown that over the last 9 years. I am open and transparent, and I value that in our communications. I also want to be inclusive and collaborative in the things that we need to do together. I do bring a strong work ethic. I am a voice of advocacy as well for your students and the educational needs of your community. I have done that work for the last 9 years, and I'm proud of that work. And I'm proud of the work of our boards, the last 3 boards that I've sat on. Rural schools and rural education must also be on the forefront of our provincial government as they address the way rural schools and rural communities are funded and supported. It's a question of equity in my mind, and the right of all students, all rural students and urban, to the highest quality of education that we can provide, regardless of how the current funding formula is allocated. This district must address the issue of equity and opportunity for all our students, and this must be a priority. Equity is critical. In choosing your next board, it is important to have a team committed to ensuring we are delivering the highest quality of educational opportunities for your students, and a team that understands the issues that are facing your community. The board's responsibility is to advocate for your community. As your current board, we did meet with Minister Bond and MLA Morris, and we spoke very clearly about the needs of our rural communities. And we received a commitment from them that we would meet again and we would look at ways to address these issues. We received a commitment from them that they would press the government to renew efforts to actively address, not in words, but in action, the economic and educational challenges and opportunities of your community and of the Valley. I'm committed to continue to press our elected MLAs to deliver on their words. And I am also committed to work on your behalf and your students' behalf. I ask your support to continue this most important work as a member of your board in the next 4 years to serve your community needs. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everybody. I have this last bio from Tony Cable. It's a very long one. Perhaps if you want to read it, I'll leave it out the front. Just to cut it short, after working in School District 57 for 35 years, I feel I have the experience and strong working knowledge of how our school district works. I want to give back to my community and work cooperatively with the school district staff and other trustees. On educational issues, he says that he is a firm believer in open, honest communication and transparency. Safe schools, there should be zero tolerance for bullying, including bullying and harassment of students and teachers. Just thought I'd add that, he didn't. Technology, devices like iPads and the use of smart boards. School funding is always a problem. Everybody wants funding. We need more. Special education student support services, he supports rural and urban schools. We need to continue to support our rural schools such as Hickson and Giscombe and make sure that the resources and funding are in place. And he winds up by saying, mending fences. After experiencing a challenging strike, it's essential to get everyone back working together by supporting and respecting our teachers and support staff. I definitely would not suggest following the I can't say this. Coquitlam? That place. District's removal for one day's pay. It's time to move forward and support the teachers, support staff and students in our classrooms. Building relationships is a key component for the school district. And that was the bio from Tony Cable. Thank you, everyone. I can't see it. I'm not even going to try. It's embarrassing. This is a non-partisan all-candidates forum, not a debate. The allowed time for question to be asked will be 30 seconds. Once you've asked your question, don't hover around because you're not getting a second shot. Just push off and go back to your seat. There will be questions from the floor, not opinions. If you have an opinion, please contact the candidate directly following the forum. I have control of the forum. Each question may be directed to a specific candidate or all candidates. But watch the time because it's 10 to 8 already. So it's going to be quick. Timing will be strictly enforced. The candidates have 2 minutes to respond, and the rebuttal from the original responder will be limited to 1 minute. But don't do it. Are there any questions from the floor? No, ask a question.
This question is for the regional district reps. What role do you see the regional district playing in the land use issues that are just piling on as more users are trying to use the same land base for different uses, commercial uses, tenure uses, recreational uses? What role does the regional district play in that?
Yeah, it's a good question. Regional district they have a role in land use planning. And, I think from a regional district perspective, we want to be a part of any of those kind of, as you indicate, piling on of different uses for the land. But we work with Crown Lands and we work with local communities, and if we have particular issues, that we can be a part of and help resolve those type of issues when we get things like you've just brought up, we want to be a part of that process. And we do have staff available in Prince George there that are part of the planning part of it. And all I can say is if we have situations like that, bring it to our attention. We can sit down and work with you on those sort of things.
Thank you.
Hi. The regional district does have a role to play, and it's largely a facilitative role. What we want to do is work with the stakeholders, make sure that all of your opinions and all of your issues are represented to the regional board, and work with various ministries and agencies to, again, find a cooperative solution to our issues. A lot of things are contentious, but we can't do anything unless we listen to you. We come out and see what your issues are. So I think our role is more of coming out, finding out what's the problem, and helping you solve them. Thank you.
I have one written question here for the trustee candidates. Who would be in favour of having a Robson Valley specific representative on the school board? Similar to an Area H rep for RD. Does that make sense? Oh, good.
So I guess I think I'll give, to keep it short, to give everyone the opportunity to. I know when we had an opportunity as a board to meet with mayor and council, I think in all of our rural communities, it's an issue that was brought forward. I know mayor and council are championing the idea to have a rural representation on the Board of Education, a representative from the Valley and a representative from Mackenzie. And I believe that we need to seriously give that some thought and see what we can do to facilitate that. I think the other piece of that is, as Trustee Hooker said in her speech, government is seriously looking at school boards and at, is there a value in having local representation? So I believe it's important for the Valley not only to lobby the school board and continue to put pressure to ensure that we are getting representative in the Valley, but continue to put pressure on government about the need of local representation for education.
So one of the tasks we have as trustees is to belong to a provincial organization called the BC School Trustees Association. And a lot of our rural districts do have a ward system, which is what that question is referring to. So dedicated candidates from some of the rural communities. And I think it's definitely a structure we should look at. However, and I think there is merit in having a Robson Valley representative as well as a Mackenzie representative. But as trustees, it's important for all of us to be advocates for all of our stakeholders, whether it's a rural community or an urban community, and to remember when you're at the table to bring all of those viewpoints in. So sometimes not necessarily a specific representative is necessary in order to have your views brought forward, because you do have very strong rural representatives on the board that bring your concerns and issues forward. Thank you.
Yes, I definitely favor the idea and the opportunity for rural representation, a representation from the Valley and from Mackenzie in our district. It's really important, even though we do all advocate for your work at our table, we aren't living in the Valley. We really don't have that clear view of the issues. You are incredibly isolated from the district, and it's sad to say that, but having driven all the way in today, 4 hours, that's a long way, and it's hard for trustees to really get to your schools, to talk with your PACs, to keep that constant relationship building that needs to happen. I believe that it is in the best interest of a community to have a representative at the board table. They bring the board, the community's views to the table. Yes, they will also have the larger district's view as well, and that will help them to be better at governance. So yes, I do favor having a representative from your valley.
I'll try not to repeat what everyone else has said, but I certainly agree that regional representation is important. And if the best way to do it is reserving a seat at the board for an individual rep, then so be it. That's a great idea, absolutely. And until that happens, I think it's up to the board members to really champion for each individual community, adopt a city or an area, and really work with those individuals to make sure that the needs are being met. Thank you.
Very interesting question, and I like learning new things, and I like people with new ideas. In some ways, I have to guard against my old bias. It's no secret I'm on the upper side of the age scale. I still like to press the flesh. I mean, I like to be, personally, I like being in the room with people like you here tonight. But I've also spent the last 25 years working with assistive technology. And I know that a lot of the old concerns about distance meetings can be facilitated, ameliorated, whatever word you want to use, through the use of technology. I mean, everybody's got a cell phone, everybody's got a Facebook. Somebody here was talking about cell towers and internet, and you know, in the old days where, you know, who wants to sign up for a committee where you get to drive 3 hours each way once a week, people's lives get really busy. But with the electronic communication we have now, maybe this is an idea that its time has become more discussable. So thank you, whoever brought that question forward. It's an interesting way to look at, there might be new solutions to old problems. Thank you.
I don't know if you know this has become quite a question across the province. I'm not sure if I support a designated seat because of the fact that we have rural communities around Prince George. You are very isolated. Ms. Warrington has been with the Giscombe School, and she was pivotal to it being built. I think there should be an advisory committee that advises on rural issues that come from each of those areas. I know for myself, living an hour out of Prince George, it is very difficult to try and campaign, to get to the events, to get your name out there. And I'm not entirely sure that because there would end up being three at least, rural representatives, one from rural Prince George, one from the Valley, and one from the Mackenzie area, which leaves 4 in Prince George, which could potentially make a board very ineffective. Although, if we had a committee, as Sheldon said, that technology could enhance, so we weren't all driving hours and hours in our winter conditions, that could be a very, very strong voice for the board, and have a mandate that committee had power with the board. Thank you.
I just want to say that I concur with local representation and believe it is a most important element. This would be, local representation would provide stewards of local interests, insights in local culture and community circumstances, and be a communicator and ombudsman, for communities. So I concur.
Is that everybody? Yep. Are there any more questions from the floor? Can you make it very short, because this will be the last one?
No, I have 2.
Is it? No, 1.
Well, that's 1 for each group, Marion.
1.
I'm sorry, I'm going to ask 2. So for the regional district, Mr. Danielle, so part of your campaign, your introduction, talked about access to backcountry. Can you explain a little bit of your knowledge and what your potential actions could be to help us with that problem? Sure. Cool.
Okay, I worked with the BC Chamber to put forth a resolution to the provincial government regarding motor vehicle access to the backcountry. And what we're talking about is working with user groups on key access roads with the help of the provincial government and funding from the provincial government to keep these roads open. So user groups contribute their time, their expertise, and the provincial government helps contribute the funding. And not for every single road. We can't keep every single road open, but we can make sure that key access roads are open to motor vehicle activities. So, not necessarily ATVs, but if you are mobility impaired or elderly, you still have a chance to get into the backcountry and enjoy what we have to offer. We keep saying that, beautiful BC, but beautiful BC seems to be open only, 5 months out of the year, and you can't access most of it. So I'd like to continue to work with community groups, local government, and provincial government to keep these access roads open. Does that answer your question?
I'm going to use my minute too.
Okay.
Just as a suggestion and a bit of an idea is doesn't always come down to funding or individual access roads. Taking on the province working on policy for liability for those roads. So it's not like we need to put a lot of investment into the infrastructure that's there. We just need to remove the liability or someone needs to take it on.
You know that in 2012 that there was a liability bill C-68 or something that turned over liability for rural roads onto the user, and that's been tested in court and found to be so. So the provincial government is working on that liability issue, and you're absolutely right. It is. We don't need a lot of funding. We just need to make sure that those roads are not deactivated.
When the user is the general public, it becomes a bit bigger of an issue.
Yeah. Well, we'll work together. That'll be awesome.
I'm not going anywhere.
Thank you. I'm sorry we're out of time. I really am sorry, but it's already 8 o'clock.
They're quick.
And we're only halfway through the meeting.
So you're not going to let... No?
No, sorry.
Really?
I'll give you my number.
Perhaps you could ask the candidate afterwards outside in the hallway. We need to thank all the candidates. They've spoken eloquently and well. They've thrown their hats in the ring. I admire them hugely. I hope you have a great turnout on voting day. And good luck to everyone. Thank you.